Fair use act, nigga.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery.
Art as a weapon. Why art is the most dangerous force in the truth movement. They didn't take control of perception through reason. They did it through repetition, through image, through symbols, shown to us on screens over and over again until they became invisible. That's how belief was installed, not through open discussion, but through saturation. Visuals designed to slip past your conscious awareness and install programs beneath it. Think about it. The spinning globe in every classroom. The rocket launches in every movie. The same space logos, stars, and planetary symbols repeated until you stop noticing them. That's not education. That's indoctrination. That's programming. And it goes deeper. The Eye of Horus, the checkerboard, the pyramid, ancient sacred symbols now inverted, stripped of their original meaning and turned into tools for manipulation. This is how the Matrix maintains itself, not through logic, but through visual spellwork. The symbols are everywhere, and because they're everywhere, most people don't question them. But when you start to see the code, really see it, that's when the illusion starts to fall apart. This is why art matters in the truth movement. Because it speaks the same language the Matrix used to program people, but tells a different story. When you learn how the programming works, you learn how to reverse it. And that's what art does when it's aligned with truth. It doesn't explain, it reveals. People may wonder why I focus intently on visuals, why I put out memes, why I don't engage in debates or long explanations. The answer is simple. Images bypass mental defenses. They hit faster than words. They register before belief has a chance to reject them. A clear, resonant image delivers a message in milliseconds. You don't have to read it, you feel it. That's not a theory, that's neuroscience. The visual processing part of the brain reacts far faster than the language center. So if you want to disrupt conditioning, image is the most direct tool we have. This is what I mean when I say, I don't debate, I transmit. I'm not trying to convince people, I'm holding up a mirror, and if what they see in that reflection disturbs them, it means the signal got in. This is the mirror effect. It's what real art does. It reflects inversion back to the viewer before their filters can block it. That's why it triggers people. That's why they mock. That's why they rage. Not because the message is wrong, but because it hit something raw. It got through. The stronger the reaction, the deeper the hit. It's not persuasion, it's recognition. And even if someone pretends to reject it, the seed is still planted. That's the power of symbolic transmission. It reaches past belief and touches perception itself. And that's why one image can sometimes do what hours of explanation never could. Here's what most people miss. Words bounce off programs, but the right image bypasses the mental firewall. When someone's been programmed by years of false authority, by media, by scientism, by religion as control, you can't just argue your way through. The defenses are too high. But when they see something that resonates before they have time to guard against it, that's when the shift begins. This is why I create the way I do. not just to express, but to disrupt. And that's why I don't call these memes. I call them truth weapons, compressed truth signals, symbolic charges, tools for deprogramming. They're not about decoration, they're about disruption. This project didn't come out of a plan, it came out of a vision. The name Neo-Human Eve arrived like a transmission, a knowing, a sense that this wasn't going to be a brand, it was going to be a signal. I've always been an artist. Illustration, visual design, sound, motion. So when this mission emerged, I knew the message wasn't enough. The delivery mattered. Each piece had to carry a certain frequency, a symbolic precision, a visual resonance. This is why I hold the standard I do. I define art as anything done to a high standard. And this work, when done right, hits like psychic architecture. It's not just seen, it's felt. That's the essence of transmission. It's not about content, it's about signal. This is also why people share the work, in threads, in forums, in comments. Not because they agree with everything, but because it works. It cuts through noise, it holds attention, it changes something in the room. There's a quote I like by Banksy that sums this up. Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. That's the frequency this work operates on. If the matrix runs on symbols, then the resistance has to as well. Only this time, we encode truth. People are tired of persuasion. They don't want to be told what to think. They want to feel something real. Awakening doesn't come from being convinced. It comes from resonance. One image, one transmission. That's all it takes to break the loop. This is why symbolic clarity is everything. It's not just art, it's initiation. It's remembering. Art was hijacked, used to sell lies, to distract, to numb, to manipulate. But now it's being reclaimed, not for aesthetics, but for truth. The medium is the battlefield. These images aren't just content. They're signal glyphs, transmission keys, conscious disruptions. They don't just say something, they do something. Every one of them is a strike against a false reality. We're not here to feed the algorithm. We're here to hijack it, and we're just getting started.
There's a scientist that was studying the human genome, and he studied it for over 25 years, and through much study and research, what he comes to the conclusion of is the human genome is made up of the DNA, the double helix, and each side of the helix has 72,000 genes, which combined makes 144,000 genes total in the human genome. Now, for those of you that know anything about the Bible, you know that's a number God uses. So that's a signature from God right there. That's his signature. And combined, they make 144,000. They're connected in the middle, looks like a twisted ladder, you know, the double helix. Now, this new technology they come out with introduces the third strand. Through mRNA messaging technology, it actually breaks a strand and puts in a third strand, which creates a triple helix. Go look at the Queen ceremony, you'll see what she did. She kind of told the world what was going on. Go look at the lighting strand. The Queen, I forgot the name of the festival, but the Queen lit up the third strand of DNA. I mean a three-strand of DNA, a triple helix. Anyway, so if you have 72,000 on each side of the double helix, on each side of the twisted ladder, there you have a strand that runs down the right side and one that runs down the left. One strand is the mom, one strand is the dad of that subject. And that's 72,000 per side. You add that together, you have 144,000, a signature from God, showing you are created, you are created by Him. Now you add that third strand, you've placed in now another 72,000. Now you have a triple helix. And people say, well, this thing that's going around the entire world that everybody's choosing to get is not the mark. Well, let's look at that number. 72,000. First side for the natural genome is 144,000. Add the third strand in, it equals up to 216,000. The number of the beast is 666, or as the Bible states, 600, 6. Now, multiply this. 600 times 60 times 6 equals 216,000.
The upcoming rollout is no longer a question of if, only when. The elites are already preparing a massive psychological operation to convince the masses it's time to ditch their so-called conveniences like smartphones and embrace the beast system, technology embedded under the skin. Those of you who resisted during the COVID era, who refused to cave to the globalist lies, survived the greatest mass deception psyop in history. You deserve an enormous amount of credit. As the late Nobel Prize winner Luc Montagnier warned, it may be people like you who ultimately saved humanity itself. But we can't rest on our laurels now, because a new assault is coming, and this one will be even harder to spot. So how do we prepare? How do we recognize the trap before it closes around us? To help answer that, here's Chase Hughes, our former US military behavior expert, with his tips on how to spot a psyop before it ensnares you.
The intelligent minorities can engineer consent through the use of manipulation, propaganda, and control, and we should do it.
People have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
We are in the midst of a serious financial crisis, and the federal government is responding with decisive action.
I know that the American people share my deep belief that if a danger exists in the world, it is a danger shared by all.
We need to actually double down on the public health measures.
You can't look at that television and say, nothing happened on the 6th.
We'd like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Most people have no awareness of how easily our behavior and even our identity can be completely taken over. But people are waking up. I spent 20 years in the U.S. military. I'm a behavior expert. I've trained psyops. I'm the best-selling author in behavioral psychology. I want to show you exactly how to identify what we call engineered reality, or what some people call psyops. So the first thing you need to know is following the FATE model: focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. This is what triggers the mammalian part of our brain that makes all of our real decisions. The first part is focus. Psyops always aim to hijack your attention with repetition, shocking visuals of fear-inducing scenarios. Some examples are like 24/7 media coverage of a crisis, or constant repetition of terms like unprecedented. So with this, pause and ask, why is this message being pushed so aggressively? So compare how much airtime different stories are receiving and note any disproportionate focus. The second part here is authority. Trusted figures might shift their tone or positions unnaturally to support the narrative. So watch very closely for expert panelists or endorsements where authority figures might speak outside of their expertise. Pay close attention to that one. Then we have tribe. So messages that polarize opinions or create stark in-groups versus out-groups, or exploit our tribal instincts. For example, labeling groups as patriots versus traitors, or scientific versus deniers. Be very careful when you hear that language. Finally, we have emotion. So be wary of any communication that triggers strong emotions like fear, hope, or outrage without any clear, verifiable evidence. So emotional responses suppress critical thinking. Emotional responses suppress critical thinking. So as a tip here, analyze the evidence that's presented to you. If facts are replaced by appeals to emotion, you need to be very, very cautious. As an example of this, think about like a news channel repeatedly showing images of empty grocery shelves and panicked shoppers during a food supply scare. It dominates every broadcast and it pushes people into fear-driven behavior.
So here's where we stand. The beast system is no longer a theory. It's on the verge of being rolled out. Electronic tattoos, ingestible devices, digital IDs tied to every aspect of your life. Total control hidden behind a mask of convenience.
School teacher and eventually became chairwoman of United Way. She came from a long line of money and power, as her father was a wealthy banker and her grandfather served as president of the National City Bank in Seattle and was the director of the Seattle branch of the Federal Reserve Bank. Side note, how come when you travel down the rabbit hole on virtually any topic, the same creatures are always festering down at the bottom? With a bloodline like this, it seems like, for Bill, the path ahead was clear. In all of his biographies, there's an emphasis on Bill's intellect that manifested early on in childhood. He was smarter than the other children. He was different. He was destined for success. Lakeside programmers. And hold up, Paul Allen is 2 years older than Bill. But Paul's over here looking like he's 40 while Bill looks like the perfect target for a game of dodgeball. Anyway, somehow the Lakeside programmers, composed of minors, went on to make business deals with computer corporations during that time, getting paid to find bugs in the software and write computer programs. Bill is credited with making one of the first computer viruses during this time. Maybe this was where he learned that by creating the computer virus, he could profit from its removal. Exchange big oil for big tech, and now we've arrived in the present. Do you ever remember electing Bill Gates so that he could influence your daily life and the legislation of your country? Neither do I. Do you recall at any point in this video me saying that Bill Gates attended any form of medical school or training in the medical field? Neither do I. So let me give you an interesting timeline of recent events. In 2013, Bill flew on the Lolita Express with our favorite notorious Mossad blackmailer who didn't kill himself, Jeffrey Epstein. Through this connection, Bill Gates made donations personally directed by Epstein. In 2014, a man was arrested at Bill's estate for possessing 60,000 photos of children. But apparently this dude got the DuPont Air treatment with a mere slap on the wrist, being ordered to stay away from children. In 2015, in a TED Talk, Bill demonstrated more of his Nostradamus-like ability, as he did when he was a child. You remember when he told all his teachers he'd be a millionaire by age 30? In this talk, he warned a coronavirus-like threat and predicted to the audience that he would be the savior of this future pandemic. Fast forward to 2018. When Bill ran a pandemic virus simulation which he projected would kill 33 million people if the simulation came to fruition. 1 year later, in October of 2019, the Gates Foundation hosted Event 201 at the World Economic Forum in New York, which was a high-level pandemic exercise that played out a novel coronavirus pandemic with potentially catastrophic consequences, requiring cooperation between industries, governments, and key institutions. Johnson & Johnson was in attendance. As Event 201 was happening, the 2019 Military World Games were taking place, hosting 110 nations and thousands of military members from around the world, and none other than Ground Zero, Wuhan, China. Yes, you heard that right. The World Military Games were held in Wuhan, China, ground zero of the coronavirus, mere weeks before the first case was reported. In January 2020, a federal court unsealed indictments against a Harvard professor and chemistry department head, Charles Lieber, along with 2 Chinese nationals. Prosecutors said that one of the nationals is a Boston University researcher who was a lieutenant in the People's Liberation Army, and the other was a cancer researcher who attempted to smuggle vials of biological materials in his sock. It was disclosed that Wuhan University paid Lieber $50,000 a month, and he was given over $1.5 million to establish a lab at Wuhan universities. But don't worry, Snopes told us nothing strange was going on with Lieber, so we could rest easy and go back to being good little sheep. On February 28, 2020, Bill Gates called coronavirus the once-in-a-century pathogen we've all been worried about, as he sounded the alarm for world leaders to respond accordingly. A few weeks later, Bill Gates stepped down from the Microsoft board of directors, which he said was in an effort to dedicate more time to philanthropic priorities, including global health and development. With all of this newfound free time, Bill decided to do an AMA on March 18th, or in other words, a question and answer session on Reddit. In this question and answer session, Bill disclosed his goal of having digital certificates for any and all people to show who has recovered from coronavirus or been tested recently, or if they've received their coronavirus vaccine. Microsoft and MIT have collaborated in developing tattoo markers to show if you've been inoculated. Bill has also been working on the ID 2020 project, which is a digital ID microchip implanted under the skin that, when scanned, would show identification information. It's reported that refugee populations will be the first to receive ID 2020. There's talk of implementing the system in the United States, starting with the homeless population of Austin, Texas. With all the fear surrounding this pandemic, many will not have to be forced to get something as Orwellian as a government microchip. They'll ask for it out of fear. Their consent will be manufactured. But will yours? This is a very slippery slope to social credit scores and not being able to leave your house, unless your microchip is firmly implanted and updated. Announced on March 30th, the United States government has cut deals with Johnson & Johnson, and Gates funded Moderna Incorporated to work on a coronavirus vaccine. Yes, you heard that right, the same Johnson & Johnson that is responsible for cancer-causing baby powder that they knowingly sold for decades. The same Johnson & Johnson that has been sued for billions of dollars for fueling the opioid crisis and pushed good people into an early grave. Yes, that will be our savior, making a rush and experimental vaccine hundreds of millions of people will inject into their bodies out of fear. To conclude here, I'm not making any outrageous claims or theories about Bill Gates. I've simply told you the background of one of the people who stands to benefit the most from what is happening right now. From being financially invested in the cure, to the potential of mass surveillance in an Orwellian state in the form of a microchip. In this video, I told you exactly who Bill Gates was before Microsoft, and I've told you exactly who he is after.
In a disturbing revelation making waves in medical circles, a Gates Foundation whistleblower has issued a chilling warning. mRNA-vaccinated individuals are harbouring dormant nanopathogens within their bodies, and these pathogens can be activated remotely through an 18 GHz signal on the 5G network. What happens when these nanopathogens lurking in every vaccinated body are activated? Cue catastrophic health events, ranging from sudden heart and brain failure to uncontrollable internal bleeding. Even more alarming, the whistleblower says the recently developed bird flu vaccine is continuing where the COVID-19 vaccines left off. For those who've already been vaccinated, getting this new shot could trigger severe health issues, including, according to an insider, the terrifying possibility of defecating out internal organs. And now, with reports surfacing of strange symptoms, like sudden heart attacks and unexplained bleeding, these claims are sparking real fear around the world. The stakes have never been higher. The global elite, desperate and cornered after Trump's recent victory, are reportedly preparing to run the same playbook, unleashing another lab-developed virus on humanity. Here's Dr. Leanna Wen, the COVID cabal's favourite agent of doom, seeding the fear-based narrative in the mainstream media this week.
Dr. Wen, is bird flu in humans super dangerous?
Well, the World Health Organization estimates that in prior outbreaks of the bird flu, that the mortality rate is 52%. 52%. However, in this most recent outbreak, it seems that most cases have been mild, and maybe some people even have asymptomatic infection. But the question is, we don't know what happens when bird flu affects more vulnerable individuals. People infected so far in the U.S. have been mainly farm workers who are working, presumably generally healthy, as opposed to what happens when you get to children, to pregnant women, to older individuals with chronic illnesses.
Here we go again, another so-called virus, one so insidious that you might not even know you have it, because the only symptom is no symptom at all. For the record, during the COVID pandemic, Dr. Wen went on record stating that unvaccinated people had the right to choose to remain unvaccinated, but they should not be allowed to go out in public ever again. Some things don't change. The COVID cabal, including Leanna Wen, are sadistic psychopaths. And Bill Gates is still pumping millions of dollars into the creation of next-generation vaccine delivery systems and deadly pathogens. For years, the mainstream media have bent over backwards to debunk claims that Bill Gates has been developing bioengineered vaccines in GMO mosquitoes designed to deliver them to humans without consent. But now, the New England Journal of Medicine, a leading medical journal, has quietly confirmed that's exactly what he's doing. Make no mistake, the elite are running the same hoax they ran in the early days of COVID. Their playbook, lockdowns, 15-minute cities, fear-mongering, and a fresh wave of mandatory deadly mRNA vaccines to counter a manufactured threat. Their ultimate goal? A drastically reduced global population, with the survivors transformed into a subdued, obedient human race.
News with you, I found out a few hours ago something that very exciting. Last year, some of us submitted a vaccine injury paper to the Lancet, to one of the biggest journals in the world, co-authored by Dr. Peter McCullough, myself, Dr. Mark Trozzi, Dr. Roger Hodkinson, and other doctors. That paper was about autopsy series, the largest autopsy series in the world of COVID vaccine, people who took COVID-19 vaccines and then died suddenly a few days or a few weeks after. That paper was downloaded hundreds of thousands of times, and within 24 hours, there was so much pressure put on by the pharmaceutical industry that the Lancet took the paper down, canceled it, and basically wanted to cancel it forever so that it would never see the light of day. I just found out a few hours ago that that paper has passed peer-reviewed and is going to be published.
People want to know, does vaccination make me healthier? And the answer from all of the unvaccinated control group studies to date is no. Vaccination does not make you healthier. Vaccination increases your risk of suffering a lifelong debilitating disorder by over 1,000%, 10 times greater. In many cases, the number is significantly higher, such as for the case of diabetes. In America, 1 out of 10 individuals has diabetes. But in our unvaccinated control group study, of 1,428 Americans, we did not find a single case of diabetes. How is that possible? That would be like flipping a coin 140 times, and every time the coin comes up heads. You would know definitively that that's impossible. It is the same analysis for why vaccines cause diabetes. And we know this not just for diabetes, but for every condition that we looked at. Autoimmune disorders. We could not find them in any significant number in the unvaccinated. We didn't find heart disease. We didn't find cancer. We didn't find sudden infant death syndrome. All of these conditions that are prevalent among the vaccinated population are simply absent among the unvaccinated. This is the power of an unvaccinated control group. It is statistically significant. It shows causation. And causation is my interest as a lawyer.
Here's what scientists have found. Over 20 years, the percentage of seniors getting flu shots increased sharply from 15% to 65%. It stands to reason that flu deaths among the elderly should have taken a dramatic dip, making an X graph like this. Instead, flu deaths among the elderly continue to climb. It was hard to believe, so researchers at the National Institutes of Health set out to do a study adjusting for all kinds of factors that could be masking the true benefits of the shots. But no matter how they crunched the numbers, they got the same disappointing result. Flu shots had not reduced deaths among the elderly. It's not what health officials hoped to find. NIH wouldn't let us interview the study's lead author, so we went to Boston and found the only co-author not employed by NIH, Dr. Tom Reichert.
We realized that we had incendiary material.
Dr. Reichert says they thought their study would prove vaccinations had helped.
We were trying to do something mainstream, that's for sure.
Were you surprised?
Astonished.
Did you check the data a couple of times to make sure?
Well, even more than that, we've looked at other countries now, and the same is true.
That study, soon to be published, finds the same poor results in Australia, France, Canada, and the UK. And other new research stokes the idea that decades of promoting flu shots in seniors and the billions spent haven't had the desired result. The current head of national immunizations confirms CDC is now looking at new strategies, but stopped short of calling the present policy a failure.
There's an active dialogue into how we can do better to prevent influenza and its complications in the elderly.
So what's an older person to do? The CDC says they should still get their flu shots, that it could make flu less severe or prevent other problems not reflected in the total numbers. But watch for CDC to likely shift in the near future more toward protecting the elderly in a roundabout way by vaccinating more children and others around them who could give them the flu. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
If you are unvaccinated and the virus comes into your community, the virus will hunt you out. The virus hunts down the unvaccinated.
The virus will find the unvaccinated. That's what they all say.
And it's a virus that will find you if you're not vaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated, it will find you.
The virus is literally finding unvaccinated people.
It will find the unvaccinated.
We're seeing COVID-19 tracking down unvaccinated people.
You know, if you're unvaccinated and you're in circulation, you're going to get it.
The Delta variant of COVID-19 has the potential to spread through an unvaccinated community like wildfire.
The Delta variant is so aggressive that if you're unvaccinated, it's going to find you.
Delta is finding the unvaccinated.
The Delta variant will find you. If you're not vaccinated, it will find you.
The virus tends to find places that are under-vaccinated.
It does not just move to city centres. It finds the unvaccinated wherever they are.
So you might live in the middle of the desert, but it can still find you.
But if you're unvaccinated, this virus is looking for you.
You know, this virus, this infection will seek out the people who are either unvaccinated or have only had one jab and are not fully protected.
The virus does seem to be finding older people who have not received that third dose.
We'll ultimately find just about everybody.
But these three people, two of them weren't vaccinated, one had just had the first dose. The virus has found them.
Everyone's waking up. The whole planet's awakening. There is a huge shift of consciousness happening on the planet. Whether you're aware of it or not, I started waking up realizing governments were corrupt. I fought the system. Article 61 is a legitimate law in the Kingdom of England to say, if you're not happy with what the government's doing, you can just say, oh, that's not for me, thanks.
Is that real?
That's a real thing. The legal system is a man-made technology designed to control masses. I got arrested 27 times in 3 years. I got 6 cars crushed, and I went through the entire process, courtroom after courtroom after courtroom, learning the legal language. I always ask the police one question: do you have a degree in law? No. Then why would I listen to you? Are you legally trained? No. Then how are you enforcing the law? Well, I started negotiating with judges.
But they know what you're doing.
Yeah. But I also know what they're doing. So like checkmate. The government have insidiously invited themselves into every aspect of our life, and that's why it seems like we're in a spider web, we can't get out of it. Capitalism and healthcare shouldn't be allowed to exist. You shouldn't be allowed to capitalize on illness. That's horrible. And I want to live on a planet with loving people. That's the truth. I want to live on a planet where people aren't doing everything for themselves. So let's get more uplifting, inspirational, and excited people about life in politics.
If you had children, would you not sign the birth certificate?
Absolutely not. Why would I give my children, my living, breathing, conscious, spiritual, intelligent being that I've co-created with my partner, why would I then give it to a crown corporation government?
It's not your truth. It's not my truth. It's the truth. And truth doesn't need rehearsing. The most dangerous place for healthy persons in America is a doctor's office.
Uh-oh, folks. The father of the vaccine, Donald Trump, is upset again, and you're not going to believe what he's upset at. So Ron DeSantis and Surgeon General of Florida, Joseph Ladapo, announced that they're ending all vaccine mandates and childhood vaccine mandates.
The Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? Who am I as a government, or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now, to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you put your child.
Sounds awesome, right? He's the best Surgeon General in the country. But Trumpy Wumpy, the vaccine man, is upset after his meeting with Bill Gates, and of course he can't give Ron DeSantis and Joseph Ladapo credit. Instead, he's annoyed.
The vaccine mandates that were rolled back for school children. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we have to be very careful. Look, you have some vaccines that are so amazing. The polio vaccine, I happen to think, is amazing. A lot of people think that COVID is amazing. You know, there are many people that believe strongly in that. But you have some vaccines that are so incredible. And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very tough position. So I'd give you an answer. I'll give you the feeling. But just initially, I heard about it yesterday, and it's a tough stance. Look, you have vaccines that work. They just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it, and they endanger other people. And when you don't have controversy at all, I think people should take it. Okay?
One more.
Who am I as a government, or anyone else, or even who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated.
And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it.
Who do you agree with more, Ron DeSantis and Joseph Ladapo, or Trumpy Wumpy, the father of the vaccine, who hangs out with Bill Gates and sounds just like him now?
Breaking news, we've uncovered the 2 minutes and 38 seconds that have been redacted from Epstein's jail footage.
Oh, finally. Now we can finally prove it wasn't Israel.
Roll the clip, Brittany.
Give us the files! Okay. I am getting them off my Premiere right now. Hurry up!
All right, looks like we uncovered it, and
My grandparents were into Pisa cost.
looks like we lost it.
What happened to the missing clips?
The court said we don't have to show them because we're busy balming the innocent. That was antiseptic. Bergstein.
Why haven't you censored people screaming about America first and Jesus? It's all Hamas propaganda.
We're working on it. As you know, we've already made it illegal to burn the Jew flag. The American one, well, that's still up for debate.
Questioning the sand situation is now illegal, right, Jackie?
That's right, John. No one's starving. No one's being genocided. Just ask Zioberg.
And if you look at the people from Hamas, when they get photographed, they're well fed. None of them are hungry. I guarantee you, look at their faces, look at their bodies. And instead of food, they could use some Ozempic.
Ozempic, when you just can't stop stuffing your gluttonous face.
Side effects include permanent thyroid cancer and gut dysbiosis.
Ozempic, the easy way out.
That's a good reason to trust your doctor.
Really, though. And guess who runs Big Pharma?
Every single time, Brittany?
We go to Shapiro-Stein for the hot take.
Just because 85% of American Israeli Jews support the genocide in Gaza doesn't mean it's the Jews. Just ask God. We're chosen. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Shapiro-Stein. I let the producer bend me over behind the studio, still waiting to see the results on my paycheck.
In other news, here's how the influencers feel about the Sand People.
How could they talk about killing children? We're not advocating to target children, but forgive us if we don't give a shit. If, everybody there dies. It's just the way we feel. It's just the way Israelis feel.
Ugh, I'm sick to my stomach.
This is all part of draining the swamp, Jackie. Let him finish.
If you gave me a button to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second.
Babe, did you pay off the medical bills?
Most Israelis
if
probably
that's
agree.
the choice.
Yeah.
I told you to call the insurance hawk.
It's all 4D chess, honey. He should have just called the insurance hawk. Right, Jackie?
Didn't they do COVID-19? I mean, same with 9/11. Like, why can't I notice JFK and the fake weapons of mass destruction, too?
Shut it down! Everybody say bye-bye to Jackie!
Wow, I guess Producer Berg wasn't too happy about this episode.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to Jackie. Can't be good.
Anyways, if you're not following Jake GTV by now, you're probably not much of a bright one. Far from based. Most likely, retarded.